Hey folks, Post here, welcome back to another Poem Masters video, and today let's talk about Holiday Skyla and Togekiss and some builds and stuff that we could potentially play around with over here with their kit. And so, Skyla and Togekiss, right? The role changes drastically for this unit from being 1 out of 5 to 2 out of 5 to 3 out of 5. At 1 out of 5, you're mainly just here, as a unit that could flinch and also status your opponent, right? Which honestly is pretty bad because your tri-attack, it's random, right? Random, and it's very, very unreliable for the most part. And air slash is okay, right? A very decent chance to flinch because you got the super interference with that, with both, right? With the tri-attack as well. But again, you don't want a random status. You kind of want to know what you're doing when you're applying status, right? Especially if you are, running with another striker that gets any damage boosts from any of these extra statuses, right? So you generally don't want that. So yeah, you could use it as a flincher, sort of. Gift of Joy gives you some random stats, which is cool. But overall, at 1 out of 5, you don't have too much use for it, right? Unfortunately. So yeah, it really depends on how many Togekisses you have. So anyways, let's get into this. Now, starting from the Synchro, let's talk about the Synchro first. So at 1 out of 5, again, it doesn't really have much, if anything at all, right? So just pick up all the, if you're going tri-attack, then pick up everything not named air slash. If you're going for air slash, pick up everything not named tri-attack. Pretty simple, right? Moving on, 2 out of 5. So 2 out of 5, you do have a few more new options here. Scourger 2 is kind of terrible. I mean, burn doesn't do that much damage overall anyways, and again, your tri-attack, it's random. You're not guaranteed to get burn, and this is 10 energy for Scorcher 2. I would probably just skip this one. Sort of ignore it. Like, I guess if you have, like, another burner on your team, make it a bit more reliable. But then again, if that's the case, why would you be running Togekiss? Just run something else instead to do more, extra damage, if you're going for that. So, as for some other stuff, you do get Flinch Hitter 5, which is pretty nice, right? So that's an extra 50% on your sync move damage. So if you do choose to go for a sync, sync move kind of build for Togekiss, you could definitely do that, right? Especially if you 6-star Yax your Skyla. So doing something like, picking up some air slash nodes, picking up Flinch Hitter 5 over here, so you make sure that you flinch the opponent. Right? Freeze Synergy, maybe, if you got an extra unit that could freeze for you, which again, relying on tri-attack, not the best idea in the world. But yeah, you could, pick up some more air slash stuff, speedy entry if you want. It's not a huge deal either way. If you want this MP refresh, so you don't have to bring like another crit buffer on your team, so yeah, more air slash power ups, something like that could work. If you're going for a tri-attack thing, just pick up tri-attack power up nodes. Again, wouldn't really, I mean, it's not terrible. You know what? It's not terrible. Yeah, I guess 2 out of 5, you could definitely do a solid tri-attack sort of build, right? So yeah, as for the remaining, again, you could throw it in here and hope you get MP refresh. So again, means that you might not need another crit buffer on your team. Otherwise, would probably just pick up this extra special attack as well. Just gain a bit of special attack, because again, it doesn't have the most special attack, right? It's more special attack, 10, 5 here, all that stuff, right? So moving on to 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 is where a lot of things get interesting, and let's first talk about Lucky Skill, right? Lucky Skill on Togekiss, if you have 3 out of 5, definitely should be Critical Strike 2. Even 2 out of 5, probably Critical Strike 2 as well, right? Because again, at 2 out of 5, you could do some decent damage with like Freeze Synergy 2 with tri-attack, I guess, sorta. If you add that up with, on your passive, got Foul Fighting 5, it's not terrible. It's not terrible, right? So Crit Strike 2 is definitely what you need if you're going for 3 out of 5, and even more so if you are going also for 6-star EX, right? Because Crit Strike 2 does apply onto sync moves, unlike a lot of the other damage buffing moves like Super Duper Effective or Power Flex 3 or whatever. Plus, it's a straight up 20%, which is a lot more than most of the other buffs that you get, right? So, as for a 3 out of 5 grid, right? So, first of all, let's talk about a sync move, right? Sort of grid, right? So, you kind of want to go over here, pick up Rising Tide, and then no, it's down here. Flinch hitter down here. If you're going for like a full sync nuke grid, as much sync move damage as you know, as possible, right? Something like this, you could do that, or you know, you could go around here if you don't care about impervious and have like extra 2. I don't know. Is there even any good? I think there's 2 speed over here. But yeah, you could definitely do something like this, right? This is just, again, to maximize sync move damage. Here's the thing that you do have to kind of sort of consider with this is you do need to like carefully plan your team around this, right? So for example, for this build, again, you do need something to buff your stats because Rising Tide is an extra 2.2 times, you know, buff to your sync move damage, right? Flinch hitter 5 extra 50%, but this does require plus 18 stats, which is that's a lot you have to, you know, get, right? So let's see over here, Togekiss herself, this is plus 4, this is plus 5 plus 6 on speed, plus 7 plus 8 on crit, so you get plus 8 guaranteed, and then you get an extra random plus 4, which again, it could overlap with some of your other stats that you've already boosted, right? So maybe you don't, you know, get as much, unfortunately. So something around the lines of like maybe around plus 12, plus 10 stats, right, that you could get all by yourself. So you do need, you know, some other teammates to give you a bit more stats to get to that plus 18 to max out Rising Tide, right? And in this team comp, you also have to consider there are a few more things, right? You do need to status the opponent because you have move power increase if your opponent is affected by any status conditions, so you do need to status them. And on top of that, you have to flinch them, but again, you can air slash, try to flinch with your air slash. Not extremely reliable, but I mean, it's flinch is just always there's no 100% flinch in this game. But yeah, this is definitely the most damage that you could do. So if you're like team building, going something like this would definitely help, right? Blastoise, you know, Blastoise tanking could give you extra defense, special defense, not just for defending, but also again contributing to Rising Tide, also attack as well, right? Physical attack, even though you don't need physical attack to attack, you need physical attack, you know, to stack up for some extra Rising Tide numbers, right? And if you have Pep Rally on Blastoise, that gives you more speed as well, right? When you are using that, and also again maxes out your crit, which again you do want to max out your crit. Also, you got Volkner here, right? Volkner well, Volkner is currently bugged. The flinch doesn't work, but you know, once it does get fixed, they are, you know, working on it. So once it does get fixed, right? You know, Volkner could flinch and paralyze your opponent at the same time. So you got a pair flinch unit over there to fulfill both flinch hitter 5, as well as super, the extra built-in sync move stuff, right? So that also helps. Instead of Blastoise, if you don't have Blastoise, I guess another great unit could be Sabrina, obviously, right? Because Sabrina gives you extra accuracy, speed, and you know, other stats. Crit, you need to again max out crit, right? Speed from Pep Rally on Reflect, right? So if you again do want to sort of get as much stats as you can for Rising Tide, Sabrina definitely helps. Also maxes out your special attack, right? Which would be nice. Another great unit, especially for Rising Tide, like a complete sync nuke build for Skyla. Lily Clefairy is actually pretty fantastic here because Lily Clefairy gives you sure crit, which, you know, a lot of times sure crit generally not as good as just straight up buffing your crit +1, +2, +3 or whatever, right? But sure crit, if you're using it with a sync nuker, is very, very good because at 100% crit, or at +3 crit, right, the maximum amount of crit, you crit 100% of the time on your regular hits. However, it's only 80% of the time on your sync moves, and then Lily over here guarantees that you 100% crit on your sync move, which again is very, very nice. Obviously, you are losing damage from not critting on your air slashes, but then on the other hand, your air slashes aren't going to do that much damage anyways with this build, especially with this build. So might as well just bank it all in on the sync move damage. And also, Lily gives you extra accuracy buffs, which again, don't really need the accuracy, but I mean, well, I guess, what was it? Air slash, right? Not 100% accuracy. So, okay. But like, you know, again, accuracy, and you also get the +6 physical attack. That's mainly just to add to Rising Tide over here, right? So these are good options. If you don't have Vulcan, another decent option over here could be, could be, if I could type, if I could spell, Karen Houndoom, right? Because Karen Houndoom actually, if you pick up Karen Houndoom, if you pick up Bite Toxic Chance and Bite Aggravation, you could actually poison flinch your opponent as well. So poison flinching the opponent also triggers both the conditions for Skyla's Sync Nuke, which also helps quite a bit, which is nice. Another good option over here on this side would be Lyra, right? Lyra, not this Lyra, the other Lyra. The other Lyra. Meganium, so again, maxing out crit, giving extra, you know, speed and physical attack for again, you know, just more stats for Rising Tide. If you picked up, where was it? You know, Force Field, maybe get a bit special defense, maybe. Again, not guaranteed. But yeah, some really, really good options over here, right? So moving on, you know, we could talk about some more builds. That's just like a mainly just all focused on Sync Nuke build, right? You could also do a bit of a mix, sort of, build over here. You could try to do some damage on your sync move, and also, you know, if you want to do some like try attack damage as well, also possible, right? With dirty fighting 3, their status extra 30% on your on your moves, right? Regular moves, not sync moves. So this could be a bit of a actually, never mind. Oh, I thought I clicked that. I didn't click that. Well, I guess we could just go. We'll just have to go from underneath and just pick up, I guess, Freeze Energy 2 instead. Whoops, I thought I clicked that. Never mind. Okay, Rip Energy. But yeah, something like this, right? And in this case, obviously, you probably would just have to, over here, pick up something that freezes, because, again, Tri-Attack, not the most reliable. And like, here's the other thing, which I really, really don't like about, like, running, like, Tri-Attack, like, Freeze Synergy, Togekiss, is you have the chance to accidentally status your opponent, which you sometimes don't want. So like, I wouldn't really recommend this, right? Again, you know, it's very, very unreliable, right? Because, you know, once the opponent gets like, because like Freeze gets unfrozen eventually. So like if you get like unfrozen, like you're kind of screwed, right? But in terms of like a best freezer, probably Glalie over here, right? Whether it be single target freeze, AoE freeze, decent option here, right? If you're just going like full in on like your tri-attack damage, you could do that as well. Again, with tri-attack builds, be careful of the, you know, issues that do come with it in terms of, you know, with freeze synergy at least, right? So yeah, you could do something like this if you're just going full on tri-attack. But again, I'm just not a huge fan of just like not like completely like just committing to like sync nuke, right? Because if you just like commit to sync nuke, it's just much more you just have a much more smoother process, and even though again slightly tough to set up, but it is a really worthy return for the most part. Let's see, as for some other stuff, if you want, you could run her as like a full-on tech unit at 3 out of 5 as well. Not a huge fan of this, but I mean, just putting that option out there, right? like you're just like not like doing damage at all, right? Just like as a like tech / support kind of unit. You can pick up Team Lucky Entry 1. It's only like +1 to random stat, which again not a huge fan of. And like you come over here and pick up Scorcher 2. Again, personally not a fan, but I'm just like putting that out there, you know, just for folks who do want that option as well, right? In my opinion, you know, your best option is just to go, again, for the most part, just go for like the Sync Nuke build, right? It's just so good, right? And it's also, you know, it's not like you can't do any damage with your, or Air Slashes or Tri-Attacks either. You still got ramming speed, right? Which is actually a 30% boost. And special attack's not terrible for the most part. And also, if you could flinch them or whatever, right? Foul fighting, extra 50% over here. You could do some good damage, you know, even outside of Sync Nuke with the Sync Nuke build. So I really do recommend mostly going for Sync Nuke. Anyway, so yeah, that's me with this one. I guess hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Paul Masters content. I'll see you guys in the next one.